The House Transportation Committee for March 31st. Can you believe March is over? Wow, March 31st, 2021 is now in session. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Representatives Boyd, Campbell, Grills, Halford, Hicks, Hurt, Kiesling, Marsh, McKenzie, Potts, Powers, Russell, Thompson, Todd, Towns, Weaver, Whitson, Vice Chairman Hall, Chairman Howell.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any personal orders from the committee? Seeing none, we have 9 bills on the calendar committee, and we have a couple of bills. The sponsors need to be in other committees at this same moment, so we're going to skip around a couple of times and begin with item number 7, House Bill 1360 with Representative Manis. Representative Manis, you will recognize, sir. I have a motion. Do I hear a second? Have a motion and a second. You recognize, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, committee. House Bill 1360, this bill seeks to change the current amount a county clerk can retain for purposes of
Representative,
mailing.
could I interrupt just a moment? I see
Sure.
you have an amendment. Do you wish to move that amendment?
Is there an amendment on this bill? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. It is amendment number 004789. My
Aye.
apologies.
We have a motion and a second on the amendment. Let's vote on the amendment and attach it to the bill. All in favor of attaching the amendment to the bill, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The amendment is on the bill. Now, Mr. Representative Manis, explain the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My apologies for that. The bill seeks to change the current amount of a county clerk can retain for purposes of mailing new physical license plates from $4 to $5. Currently, a county clerk can retain a fee of $4 to pay for handling mail orders of registration license plates. This fee no longer covers the cost of the license plate. The cost now is about $4.80 for every license plate that is mailed. So this legislation would allow them to increase that to $5. And this $5 charge only applies to those who request or require a new license plate to be mailed to them rather than picking it up in the clerk's office, in which case there is absolutely no fee on postage. So,
Okay, committee, you've heard the explanation. Any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, we're voting on House Bill 1360. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Sir, your bill moves to Finance Committee. Thank you very much. We're now going to jump around to item number 5 with Chairman Holtzclaw. House Bill 1418. I have a motion and a second. Chairman, you are recognized. And I believe we have an amendment.
Yes, we do. It's code 5386.
That's what I have. Do I hear a motion and a second on the amendment? Have a motion and a second. Any questions on the amendment? Hearing none, we will vote on adding the amendment. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The amendment is on the bill. Chairman Holtzclaw, if you would explain the bill as amended.
Thank you, Chairman. Basically, all this does, it authorizes or gives access to all-terrain or off-highway vehicles for operation on a certain segment of State Route 173 and 107 within Unicoi County.
Very good. Any questions for the sponsor? Question has been called on the bill. All in favor of sending this bill to Calendar and Rules, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Your bill goes to Calendar and Rules, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman, committee.
Thank you. Committee, we will move back to item number 1. House Bill 532. And we are going to roll that to the hill. Okay. We will move on down to item number 2, House Bill 476 with Chairman White. Chairman White, I see you are here and you are recognized, sir. And I believe you also have an amendment.
Yes, sir. Chairman and committee, thank you. The amendment we're on is 5461. Is that correct?
Just a moment. Yes. What about 5150? Chairman, I have 2 amendments. 5164 came from sub, and then we have a new amendment, 5150. I think it's the latest. So we need to sort out if you want.
Okay.
I think they both rewrite the bill. So
Okay.
I think the latest version I have is amendment number 2, 5150.
5150. I
I've
believe-
been corrected.
believe you
It's
are correct.
5, you're right. It's 5461, I believe.
5461, good. Thought that was one we added in subcommittee.
Okay, so we are ready to vote on adding the amendment 5461 to the bill. Hold on just a minute. I'm getting some counsel.
Is that right?
We're going to get some legal counsel here on where we are. Stand by.
It's 5150. It's this one. That is correct. That's correct.
All right, the confusion has been cleared up, and it's amendment number 1 from Transportation Sub 5461. Is that what you have, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
We are voting on adding 5461 to the bill. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The amendment is on the bill. And did I understand that you were requesting a verbal amendment as well?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I also would like to ask a verbal amendment that the enactment date upon this bill to be put upon passage of the bill.
Okay. Would I hear a motion from one of the committee members that we make a verbal amendment to change the active date? So moved by Chairman Marsh. Do I have a second? Have a second? All in favor of adding this verbal amendment to the bill, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The verbal amendment is on the bill. Now we're back on the bill, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for helping me clarify everything. Members, what this bill is asking for, this permits the use of LPR or license plate reader cameras upon our federal interstate roadways to aid law enforcement in criminal investigation. I want to make that very clear. This is not traffic enforcement cameras. They are banned and we are not going down that road. This is to help our law enforcement with criminal investigations. Why do we need these? Okay, I'm in Memphis, Shelby County. We've had 32 shootings from cars on the interstate since January 1. And it's not just our in the state, it is a problem in other areas. We had a nurse killed on 440, as you remember, I believe it was the end of last year. If we had had license plate readers on 440, we could have caught the perpetrator, I'm being told by TBI, within 4 hours. And by the way, they're here if anyone has a question you'd like to ask them. We have had interstate shootings. We have, back in my neck of the woods, we've had people stopping the interstate traffic right in the middle of town, doing donuts and drag racing on the interstate. I was going to the airport the other morning back in December, 5:30 in the morning, pitch dark, not that many cars. 2 cars passed me doing high rate of speed. They slammed into the car about 40 feet from me, knocking off their fenders and everything, just kept going. And so you cannot have a police car on every intersection to control this. And if our law enforcement has this type of tool, this technology where they can read these license plates and then help them in their criminal investigation. And with that, committee, there's a lot of other instances I could give you, but barring any questions, I renew my motion.
Thank you, Chairman. Any questions from the committee? Chair Lady Weaver? You're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman White, so can you kind of give me an idea what this camera looks like and where is it? And is it in the police car or where is this a camera? I don't understand.
Currently,
what it looks like.
these cameras in our cities, they're everywhere. When we passed a bill a number of years ago that on the traffic enforcement, the language called this up. This is not a traffic enforcement. They can already be in a police car. Like we can put a police car on every off ramp on Interstate 240 down in Shelby County and have these. But what we want to do with this, in cooperation with the Tennessee Department of Transportation, is to install these permanently at various locations with agreement between law enforcement. I think I'm speaking correctly, law enforcement and Tennessee Department of Transportation to have these set up. There was a prison break, I'm being told, in Shelby County last year. and they went all across our state. And the only way they caught them, they didn't catch them until they got down in Georgia and Florida, where they actually had these, but they got all the way out of the state of Tennessee. If we'd had them here, we could have caught them before they were out. So it's a high technology. I understand you can be doing 100 miles an hour in a rainstorm and these cameras will still pick up your tag.
And so are they placed then on a pole or, I mean, I don't understand where they're at.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, would you allow the TBI to give the details on these cameras?
Without objection, we'll go out of session and ask our witness to come forward. Mr. Music, you are recognized, sir.
Good afternoon, Chairman, committee members.
If you'd give your name, please, just.
Jimmy
for the
Music, Tennessee
audience.
Bureau of Investigation. This is something that we do support. As Chairman White has indicated, we've had several high-profile cases, even in the last year, where this would have been a really important tool for us to have. As far as where they'll be stationed, the difference is that these would be fixed locations so that we're not relying on the off chance of going by a trooper's car that happens to have it mounted on them. But it would follow all the same rules and regulations that TDOT sets for us, so that to make sure it's safe and all those things. And that might be a question if you want to know what the specifics are for them. But it would be up to TDOT to tell us where the cameras are appropriate and safe for, motorists on the roadway.
So,
You're recognized.
Sorry, I guess I'm such a I understand things visually. So we have cameras on the highway, because I always get the Fox 17 channel transportation coming in town traffic thing. They've got cameras there. I still don't understand where these go. Can you help me understand where they're going to be and who puts them there?
So,
You're recognized.
yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman. So those SmartWay cameras, they can't be used for this purpose. And so, but it would be something similar, is my understanding,
Okay.
is that this isn't a covert activity for us. This is something that we want to use the tool to be able to capture license plates. It auto deletes after 90 days, only if that tag specifically is tied to a criminal investigation. And so, but as far as where they would go, like I said, TDOT would be able to set the parameters of what is proper and appropriate for that. But I would envision that it's something similar to what you see with a SmartWay camera, maybe not quite as sophisticated.
Okay. And so then are they put in strategic places where the sponsor mentioned where there seems to be more high velocities of crime or something? Or how do you know where to put them, I guess, is what I'm trying to figure out.
Yes, ma'am. So I think that you would want them in, east or westbound, north, southbound directions, just to know, where there are major interchanges. But as far as knowing specifically where they're going to be placed, I couldn't tell you. But if you have one, you won't need a whole lot of them, I guess is my point, because you're going to go by it at some point.
And so they are mobile to where do they have Velcro on them? They stick somewhere, you take them off and you put them on another pole?
No, I don't believe they would be Velcro. Most of these, they're going to have a hardwire. They're going to need power. So they're going to be hardwired in a fixed location. There are other opportunities. I know Georgia has some that they have on mobile trailers that they can move around, and there's nothing that would prevent that now. What we're trying to do is to seek the authority for a fixed camera so that we don't have to have the scenario where we have to take a chance that the fugitives that escaped out of West Tennessee actually go by a trooper. And that case is a good example. They escaped, they zip tied a gentleman into his house, and they stole his car. So we had a tag number. And so, we could run it through Tennessee, but if they didn't happen to pass anyone, which they did not, then we have no idea and what direction they're going. And so what we did in that case is we started asking our neighboring states that we knew that had these the technology to say, have you seen this tag come through? And so we got a historical hit in Georgia on the southbound side of the interstate. So we knew they were going south. So we naturally went to Florida and said, do you have any hits? We had multiple hits in Florida and put us right on location. And that's where we captured them.
Did Florida or Georgia, they probably have them like on state line as well? Did they put those cameras on the state line?
I'm not sure if I've got I think the GPS location of the exact cameras from that case. I don't know where they set theirs up. So I know Florida's was fixed, and that the one in Georgia, one was a car, and I think one was fixed.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you. Mr.
Chairman
Music.
Whitson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. And Mr. Music, good seeing you, sir, and appreciate the job you and your team do for us. Is it safe to say because we've become a very mobile society, our solve rate for murders have gone down while murders have gone up?
The clearance rate of homicides is concerning, and we think that there are specific instances where this would be helpful when we know we have somebody in the wind, whether it's somebody that's taken a child, someone who's a fugitive, or someone who just killed someone and we know their vehicle, which was similar to what happened on 440. And it would have been a great tool to have to immediately have and the important thing is this is a lead. It is not, it's not enough to go arrest someone or anything. This is a lead. And there are instances where time is of the essence where we need a lead.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, when he's finished, I request that Elizabeth Stoker testify and talk about our demonstration of the license plate readers we schedule for next Tuesday.
That's a good idea. Any other questions for this witness? Representative Russell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Music, for being here. How many cameras are y'all looking at putting statewide?
So right now, we don't have any, because it wouldn't just be limited to TBI. So our goal would be to see, whether it's a local county or THP or a local chief, where they're going to put them. And then our role, as usual, would probably be, if needed, to fill in those gaps. But right now, I couldn't tell you an exact number or what our plans would be.
You recognize?
Thank you. Who makes the decision of how many cameras y'all are going to get and where they go?
Who makes the decision of how many? I think it would be very fact specific. Like I said, is where are the holes? If there is 100 miles of interstate where we don't have one, then that may be a good candidate to do so. But right now, the Bureau, we have none. We have zero.
You recognized?
So each municipality or county or Department of Safety or TBI would have the option of putting the cameras up?
They would have the authority to request authorization from TDOT, and then they would be the gatekeeper about what is proper.
You recognized?
And would the cameras be used for the silver alerts?
If Silver Alert passes, which we hope it does, it would be very beneficial, because often in those cases, when you have an elderly individual or someone with a disease that makes them very confused, we don't have, it's different. They're different than fugitive cases and that kind of thing. And so they are difficult, and it becomes luck often, because we may have a make and model of a vehicle and we put out a BOLO, but we just don't know where they are. So knowing that they left their home and having that tag number to be able to run through an LPR database would be extremely helpful.
You recognize?
I appreciate that, and I think this is a great bill, and I'm glad to support it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Representative Grills.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Mr. Music for being here. I know last week we discussed this in the subcommittee, and I was a no vote then. I'll be a no vote today as a matter of principle. However, I don't want to do anything that would not support our law enforcement. But we also have some rights that I believe this could be trampling on. So in order, you're going to record every car that goes through these cameras, correct?
It takes a picture of every license plate that goes by it.
So in order to, Mr. Chairman,
You're welcome.
so in order to get any information about that or from that database that it's compiling for the 90 days,
Mhm.
do you have to have a warrant? And what's the process, just for the record?
I don't think you need a search warrant because without getting into a legal Fourth Amendment thing, I will just tell you this, that legally, the state law requires you to have a license plate affixed to the car that's seen. And you have no reasonable expectation of privacy on a state road. And so, no, there is no warrant requirement. But I think that, what you're going to see is that, like if we were going to enter in a name into NCIC to look someone up, you basically have an audit trail to make sure that it's being used properly. So when we do it, and because these are limited criminal investigations, you can bet that you're going to have to put, when an officer or the bureau, one of our agents enters a tag number, the reason for that. So if there's anything improper about it, that audit would catch it on that side.
Thank you, Mr. Music. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me a few questions. Thank you for all you do and the guys at TBI. We appreciate their efforts, but once again, just as a matter of principle, thank you.
Understood.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions, just a couple of clarifications, if I may. LPRs are not new to Tennessee, is that correct?
They are not.
They are currently in use by THP, as I understand.
They do have LPRs on lots of their trooper cars. There's lots of municipalities that have them as well.
Mhm.
Even private citizens, housing authorities, that kind of thing that use them.
I know in some other states, someone mentioned Florida and Georgia. I know that even local law enforcement agencies use them in Florida. And some of the police blotter reports I've read occasionally from down there, they're very effective in finding people who are wanted criminals. Again, to reiterate, this is only for criminal investigation. It's not for traffic enforcement, not for monitoring or traffic control, anything like that. It's strictly for criminal investigation.
Correct. And Alabama, Mississippi, Virginia all have fixed LPRs on their state routes. Kentucky is in the process. They'll have theirs installed over the summer. And South Carolina is the one that used the mobile trailers, but they're all limited just like this bill is, which is to criminal investigations only.
So even though a car goes by, all the cars go by, it takes a snapshot of every license tag. But if there's no outstanding warrant on that particular driver, eventually that tag cycles out.
Correct. It will come out in 90 days. The only way that we're going to get a notification is you're essentially putting a list of tag numbers as a hot list. And so whether it's the fugitive tag number or the silver alert, the tag number, it's only comparing the pictures it has for that 90-day window and saying, yes, it has gone by an LPR, or no, it has not. If it's yes, it'll tell you the date and time of that location, and that's it, nothing more.
Okay. Any other questions? Representative Russell?
Thank you, Chairman. How does it take a picture of the tag at night?
We get into some specifics that I think maybe above my pay grade, but I mean, I can show you pictures of some that are, on the interstate at night that do it. But as far as to understand the technology of how they're capturing images going by that fast, I'm not sure, but they are very clear.
Representative Russell?
So you don't know if there's a flash on the camera?
I doubt it.
Thank you.
Any other questions for our witness? Seeing none, thank you, sir, for your time and for what you do for the state of Tennessee. Do we need to hear from the Department of Safety? Chairman White? Yes, do you mind, Ms. Stroker, coming forward and good to have you in the committee. Thank you. Could you identify yourself, please?
Elizabeth Stroker, Legislative Director for the Department of Safety. And to Chairman Russell's question, yes, they can read it at night. How the plates are made, they're reflective plates, and so it can take that picture even at night or bad weather. So that is still an option. And as Jimmy stated, we have, I think, 40 cars that have the LPRs on them now that we use throughout the state. And we're actually going to be demoing for anyone here who wants to see how that works, because I know this is kind of a new topic for a lot of people, how that works. You can see what the system is like, how it functions in the vehicle, and how it actually works in real time. We'll have 2 of those troopers here who are those experts next Tuesday at 1:30 for a couple hours. And feel free to text me or email me or any chairs of the committee for that detailed information. And you can learn and know everything you ever wanted to know about LPRs.
Representative Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Unless I misunderstood, this bill applies only to criminal investigations. On the other hand, I thought I just heard this was also be used for Silver Alert. That is not included in this bill, to my knowledge. If so, we would need to amend it if that's the
To
intent.
clarify, if I may, I believe there is a separate bill regarding Silver Alert, and only if that bill passes could they be used. Is that correct, Chairman White?
That is correct.
Thank
Civil
you.
work, we already have Amber Alert, yes.
Somewhere in the language, though, would need to be included permission for these cameras. This is one example of these cameras will possibly go further than intended. That's a fear of mine. The moment that you come before us and ask us in a year or 2 or 5 that you need the revenue and we're going to do traffic camera tickets on the interstate, we'll have a bigger problem then. And that's my fear. Thank you.
Thank you.
And-
You're recognized.
Just to that point, we absolutely understand that concern. And there are a lot of pieces in the code that this body has put in, making it very clear that we do not use these cameras or unmanned traffic cameras for that traffic enforcement. So it's very well taken from the rest of your committee as well.
Any other questions? Representative Grills.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Mr. Stroker for being here again. I actually brought this up to you earlier today. I was having lunch after church Sunday, and a guy come sit down beside me and told me, "It's Rusty, my wife's driving down the road. He had a DUI last year, and he's lost his license. And his wife is being stopped repeatedly because when the trooper runs the tags, it comes up with he and his wife are both on the title and the registration. And she's been stopped twice in the last 2 months because of this. Now, she's not breaking any law other than driving down the road. And there's this is a problem to me. I don't know at what point it becomes harassment. And I'm not trying to say that the officer's harassing her, don't get me wrong, but there has to be some limitations there. This woman's just trying to go back and forth to work, drop her kids off to school. She's not breaking the law. So can you maybe expound, maybe give me a little bit of help here? Thank
You're
you.
recognized.
Absolutely. And that I would need to know the actual details of that license to know anything specifically, but that's not necessarily tied to a license plate reader. So you're talking about a situation where you've got a tag that is tied to an individual who has their license revoked, which then reflects in the system whenever a trooper runs that plate number, it's going to show that the license associated with it is revoked for whatever reason. And so that could be what's triggering it. And it's just unfortunate that they're both tied to the title of that vehicle, but it's because of the husband's revocation.
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. He actually said that it was from the LPR. They met head on. There was no way that the officer could have got the tag and run it without.
And that's also totally possible that LPRs are not stationary cameras, and it's actually with a trooper who's looking at it real time. So it's very different than the situation we're talking about in this bill, because that is a trooper at the time reviewing it and assessing it and stopping someone. And so that's where the difference comes and why this bill is needed for the stationary non-manned LPRs. Ours are actually manned with a trooper behind it, reviewing it, stopping someone. And that's where that little difference is.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know we're getting off of what the actual bill
Okay.
is, but
Any other questions? Representative Russell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On some instances, TCIC and NCIC go down during the night or day. What happens to those tags? Do they run later or are stored somewhere and run to the system later, or they just don't record those tags when the NCIC and TCIC are down?
I don't know the answer to that. That may be a better question for TBI. I don't know the specifics of what the criminal database is and how that works, unfortunately. I'd be happy to look into it and get that answer for you, though.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Seeing none. Thank you for coming and talking to us, and we look forward to that demonstration on next Tuesday. I believe that's correct. Thank you. We are now back in session. Chairman White, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman and committee. Appreciate your time on this. I believe it's a strong bill that can really help catch those who are breaking the law in our state. And Amber Alerts, it really will help us on Amber Alerts, find missing children as they may be taken from a home. Without, Mr. Chairman, I just renew the motion.
Okay. Any other questions for the sponsor? Without objection, we're voting on House Bill 476. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. If you wish to be recorded as a no, see the clerk. Ayes have it. The bill passes to calendar and rules, sir. Thank you. We are now on item number 3. Representative Hilton is here. We have a motion. We have a second and a third. Do we have a fourth? We do not have an amendment. You recognize.
Thank you,
Chair
Mr.
Lady.
Chairman and members. House Bill 331 is about the discharging of liens. This bill seeks to amend TCA 55-3-127 to clarify that when a lien holder discharges a lien on a vehicle, a record of that discharge is simultaneously sent to the Department of Revenue as well as to the registrant. Presently, the lien holder is only required to send a record of discharge to the registrant. State Records continues to show a lien on the vehicle despite the lien having been paid off. The absence of the discharge in the state record prohibits the clerk's ability to serve frustrated registrants who have lost or misplaced their title document in the discharge. If a record of discharge is sent by the lien holder company to the state at the same time that it is sent to the registrant, this will help to alleviate any confusion by notifying the Department of Revenue that the lien has been paid off.
Any questions for the sponsor? Are we ready to vote? All in favor of sending House Bill 331 to calendar and rules, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Chair Lady, your bill goes to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members.
Item number 4, House Bill 352 by Chairman Vaughn. We have a motion and a second, Chairman Vaughn, and I believe you have an amendment. Is that correct?
I do, sir.
And what is your bill? That's what I have. We have a motion and a second on the amendment. Let's put the amendment on the bill, then we will discuss the bill. All in favor of adding House Amendment 4467 to the bill, say aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The amendment is on the bill. Chairman Vaughn, you're recognized, sir.
Doing today, if this bill passes on through the House and through the General Assembly, is to get equal treatment for our automobile dealers in dealing with warranty repairs on their vehicles. Presently, 47 states throughout the union, automobile dealers are reimbursed when they do warranty repairs by the manufacturer at the same rate as a private citizen would for parts. Due to our franchise laws, that is not the case in Tennessee. Our auto dealers and the manufacturers have been working to resolve this issue together. This legislation is a result of those discussions. And so what this would do is this would square up our auto dealers when they do warranty repairs for receiving the actual cost of the parts that they put in those vehicles.
Any questions for the sponsor? Question has been called. All in favor of sending this bill to calendar and rules, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Your bill goes to calendar and rules, sir.
Thank you, sir.
House Bill, well, we did number 5. Let's skip on down to number 6. Representative Gillespie, you, sir, are recognized. House Bill 1155. We have a motion and a second on the bill. And I believe, Representative, you have an amendment. Is that correct? You're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, it is amendment number 5139.
5139. I have two amendments, 5139 and 5745. Let me check with legal here just a moment.
Wait, one second. Yeah. Oh, it's the second one. It's 574. It.
Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. It is 5745 is the latest amendment.
5745. That's what I have. That's the more recent one. Okay, do I have a motion second on the amendment? Motion and a second on the amendment. Let's vote on the amendment. All in favor of adding the amendment to the bill, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The amendment is on the bill. Representative, would you explain your bill as amended?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee. As amendment, House Bill 1155 is a cooperative effort between metal recycling industry and law enforcement to help combat the problem and theft of catalytic converters. What this would do would require businesses engaging in those activities to notify their local police and sheriff's deputies to create a registry to allow them to track those parts. And I welcome any questions.
Any questions for the sponsor? Question has been called on the bill. All in favor of sending this bill on to Calendar and Rule, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The bill is moving on to Calendar and Rule, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on to number 8 on your calendar, House Bill 544 with Chairman Powers. We have a motion and a second, and we also have an amendment. Chairman Powers. As soon as we get through with the house cleaning there. We have, what is your bill amendment number, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The amendment number is 4102.
That's what I have.
Okay.
Let's vote on the amendment. All in favor of adding the amendment to the bill, say aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The amendment is on the bill. If you would explain your bill as amended, sir.
Yes, thank you. House Bill 747 allows a business that has been on an interstate logo board for 10 years or more and has been bumped to be rolled over to another board with a different title. If there is a vacancy, it would not allow more than 2 logos to be added on a board with a different title. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I will renew my motion, take any questions.
All right, any questions for the sponsor? Question has been called on the bill. All in favor of House Bill 544, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The bill goes to Finance, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee.
Thank you. Our last item on today's calendar is House Bill number 127 by Vice Chairman Hall. Vice Chairman Hall, you are recognized, sir. Have a motion and a second. We do have an amendment. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Drafting code 4697.
4697 is what I have. We have a motion and a second on the amendment. Let's vote on the amendment. All in favor of adding it to the bill, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The bill is now amended. Please explain your bill, Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill is for anyone that has been stuck in traffic. House Bill 127 basically gives the legal authority for a recovery vehicle to use the shoulder of the interstate while cleaning up a wreck when called by law enforcement. And I'll be glad to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions for the sponsor? On behalf of all of us who've been stuck in traffic on I-24 southbound in Chattanooga, thank you for the bill. Who knows? All in favor of sending, without objection, we will vote on House Bill 127. All in favor of sending it to Calendar and Rule, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, sir. Your bill goes to Calendar and Rules. That is the end of our, I'm sorry, we have one more. We roll to the hill. We will, I still don't see Leader Gant. So without objection, we will roll House Bill 532 to the next week's calendar. Do I hear a motion? So moved. We are adjourned.